And we heard Roccat talking very positively about Impaler's Rengar. I believe Impaler's 2-0 in Rengar in the summer split. We'll see if they want to prioritize that pick. It is definitely something that is on the upward trend.
The thing is for me, right, they said Rengar, Impaler's the best Rengar in Europe right now. I'm not sure how high the praise that is, because there's not been a very good Rengar in Europe.
Also true, but you can't deny the fact that he has got wins on it. And I actually think KaSing is playing it quite mechanically well. Last week, I believe he pulled it out and did a pretty good job. But in terms of the rest of these picks and bans, I really think it's just going to be a heavy focus on mid lane. Twisted Fate is still up. Xerath is still up. And those are champions that both of these guys have played in the past.
Oh, they've not banned Ahri. Roccat have not banned Ahri. Interesting one. We'll see when that goes through. Remember, Selfie, big last week. MVP playing Ahri twice back-to-back. Orianna, Twisted Fate were banned away as well. Fizz in there, as you mentioned, all mid laners. Will they leave it available? Gragas is the ban. That means Xaxus. Will he go for Maokai as first pick here? We'll see how that one goes. Or will they focus on the jungle? Remember, Lucian is available.
So if they want to go for the likes of Lucian or Elise, in the case of Jankos, who's got a very good stat record on that, it does mean you are safer for the rest of your picks. But by prioritizing an AD carry like Kog'Maw, this will be the 4th time that Celaver's run Kog. He's only got 1 win on the champion thus far, but he is also a player that is very integral to Rockat's success. When Celaver was underperforming at the beginning of the split, his team was losing significantly. As the weeks have rolled on, Celaver's definitely stepped up his game.
So, super hot crew, 2 choices, lots of champions available. What will they go with? Anything they consider strong? Remember, these are big, important picks, these first ones. Interesting one could be Morgana. Rengar is locked in, and Morgana is as well. So KaSing making sure he gets hold of that one.
Two reasons for the Morgana, I feel. VandeR's currently undefeated on Morgana. 5 games played, 5 wins. KaSing has got a fairly wide champion pool. I like his Braum, I like his Nami. He's solid on Morgana as well. The one thing I'm interested to see is if Super Hot Crew want to run Ahri, because Kog'Maw is super immobile. Yesterday, Copenhagen Wolves ran a Kog'Maw into Rengar and Fizz against Fnatic, and I said this yesterday, while Fnatic didn't necessarily punish it as hard as they could have, the option is there, the possibility is there. Come in from the sides, you know, stealth jump in and have Ahri just blow Kog'Maw up. So we'll see how Super Hot Crew play the rest of that pick ban.
Well, looks like it's going to be a jungle choice. The question is, which one are you going with, Jankos? You can see the decisions going between him, Elise or Lucian. Are the possibilities? We could also see VandeR getting Thresh, it seems. VandeR, will he be back?
Oh, that's a big praise. It was VandeR in Spring Split.
It was. He's fell away. That's
it has fallen away. It has fallen away. VandeR is sporting a new haircut, I believe, there as well. Last second swap. I like the fact that Jankos actually swapped away to Elise because he had such a good game yesterday. He went 3-0-1 within the first few minutes against Alliance. He was tower diving effectively, and he just had a very strong performance. Roccat have got good picks, they've got good peel, and they can leave their last 2, you know, if they want a frontline with Maokai and then damage maybe with Xerath, that might be something Roccat could put together, that strong siege and poke from range.
Well, change, MrRalleZ, not sure what he's going with. It seems that it will be Shyvana for Mimer in the top lane. It's a champion he's done very well with so far the last couple of weeks. And overall, honestly, the whole summer split. That will leave, as you mentioned, Maokai available, Ziggs is out there as well.
Not so sure. Well, it would play into the engage, and if you went with Zac, Rengar, and Ahri, you've got all in.
So the thing for me is, like, if you are going to pull out some kind of special, and I use the phrase loosely, yeah, tactic, you would not bring it out in Super Week. You'd wait till playoffs.
I agree with you. I do agree with you. On the other side of the coin, Super Hot Crew are relatively safe-ish if they can win this particular matchup. So if you win this game and lock in 3rd, you guarantee that preferential seeding. If Roccat lose, and this could be a taste of one of our quarterfinals, very realistically. Yesterday, Fnatic shut down Mimer on Shyvana very effectively. He was never the front line that Super Hot Crew needed, and Super Hot Crew just got obliterated. So Mimer's going to need to step up or have more assistance from the rest of his team at an earlier stage.
We saw Overpow on Zilean yesterday. Worked out relatively well against the Xerath. Of course, Xerath is available out there. Lulu also locked in for Xaxus in that top lane, so it hasn't gone with Maokai. It does leave a number of options open. Don't think it's going to be Soraka in the mid lane.
Not so sure, but this is just a pure protect the Kog'Maw competition. With Lulu, with Wild Growth, with Chrono Shift, with slows and bombs, all Roccat want to do is work around Celaver keep him alive, and pray that Celaver is able to destroy anybody that jumps onto him. I also like the fact that you've got the Zilean, because if SUPA crew are considering Ahri, once you get to that team fight stage, you've got a wild growth, you've got the chrono shift to actually bring Celaver back to life. So it is fairly smart in terms of countering the assassin play, and I think Ziggs would be a smart choice because you can play the map, you can play the poke game, and then once Roccat are low by the AoE from Ziggs, you can engage. You can't revive and save everybody with those single target ultimates.
So Ziggs will get locked in there. Final choice. So Selfie will be playing that one in the mid lane, which gives them a little bit of range. Not a great deal until Tristana gets going.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. In terms of the lane matchups, Kog'Maw and Thresh should have the advantage if they get into that 2v2 scenario. But we've regularly been seeing European teams going for the lane swap when they've got a late game carry. And Tristana and Kog'Maw definitely fit that bill as the game progresses. Earlier today, we've seen some great Tristana play from Bang, I believe it was, in OGN, also against the Kog'Maw. And it's just going to depend so much for Roccat in protecting Celaver. They've also once again got this very mid-game heavy sort of power team spike. And while Kog will scale very effectively, if Roccat do not push more aggressively than they did yesterday against Alliance, I think SUPA crew have got the tools to outscale them as a team as we progress past the 30-35 minute mark.
Well, we'll see how this one works out. Which jungler do you think has the upper hand in this game? Tweet us #ROC Jankos or #SHC Impaler to @LOL Esports, and of course we'll tally up the votes as the game gets underway. Is Jankos going to rock Impaler's world?
We'll have to find out. Strong words. I mean, he was saying that Impaler is the best Rengar in Europe.
We'll see if it works out for him.
We will. The one thing that Rengar doesn't necessarily have in this matchup, if his opponents are fairly healthy in lane, Rengar plus Shyvana may not be able to instantly burst down Lulu. She can just wild growth and get away. Dyrus did this last weekend multiple times. Soaz did it yesterday multiple times. And on the same token, if they try to jump onto Thresh and Kog'Maw, as long as VandeR's playing correctly with the Lantern, he may be able to get them out. So a lot is going to depend on the timing of when Impaler goes for those ganks.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game about to get underway. The first game of the day, and the first of potentially 9 today. It's going to be a long one for everyone involved, including these teams. So Roccat starting out as the blue team, currently number 6 in the standings against the super hot crew, who are chasing after that defeat yesterday. They are not the strongest, wasn't the best start from them, but after all, they are still sitting in 3rd place because of Millennium's loss. This game is chasing them hard. We'll see if this turns out to be the quarterfinal playoff starting next Thursday. Of course, a lot could change from them. We've still got another 10 games to go.
Well, it's going to depend a lot on Jankos in this early game. We keep harping on about his first blood stats, but it is because they are that incredible. And Jankos will need to get Roccat ahead during the course of the laning phase. Okay, Overpow. During the course of the laning phase, because if Roccat do not have a powerful start, the engage potential of Rengar, Shyvana, and even Morgana in that situation is going to be very difficult for them to deal with. Roccat are not necessarily looking for straight-up 5v5s. They would prefer to be in skirmishes. They would prefer to be playing side lanes. And in order to do that, they need to start dictating the tempo of the game.
They also prefer to have a little laugh in the mid lane.
Do a little dance? Maybe get down tonight?
2 Polish players in that mid lane. They do understand each other. We'll see how it works out between them. I wonder if there's a little bit of rivalry built up there. Who knows? You never know with teams from players from the same country. Sometimes they get on really well, sometimes they hate each other, just purely for the fact that they're from the same country. It's bizarre, I know it is. But nonetheless, that is how it works out. So, standard start in the jungle-wise, it seems, and in the lanes. You can see the Roccat been very aggressive, far forward in the bottom lane, seeing if they can create something here.
Yeah, we'll see how...
Backing off.
We'll see how the head-to-head duo of Celaver VandeR does against MrRalleZ and KaSing. I feel like Celaver, once he gets some points in his Biocane Barrage, should be able to bully MrRalleZ a little bit on the back line. But Tristana at the very low level with that explosive shot can also make your life a little difficult. Sort of that mini ignite, just damage over time. But the one thing that SUPA crew needs to be wary of, Tristana is naturally going to be shoving that lane thanks to her explosive shot. So if Jankos is aware of the timing and aware of the minion waves, he can try to increase that tally on his first blood tokens.
We should also keep our eye on the 3-4 minute mark when those junglers, you can see they're both doing the buffs in the lower half of the jungle. We'll see if they decide to pay a visit down here. It'll be very early, but you never know. You never know. See what works out. Death Sentence lands on MrRalleZ. Good trade already here from Roccat. Forces MrRalleZ to rocket jump away. And that will give them the advantage at level 2.
Yeah, and MrRalleZ burned through his potion as well. So VandeR going to look to set up another one of those Death Sentences. We do see Jankos actually moving to the mid lane as the first potential gank, but with Satchel Charge and Flash, this is optimistic.
Well, it's optimistic, but he gets a good slowdown on him. He is going to try and route them around. Can he get around the side? Jankos Cocoon does not land. There's a lot of damage coming through here. Jankos will pounce, and once again, it's another first blood for Roccat.
12 first blood secured by Jankos. That is the 20th for Roccat. Celaver's been caught by Dark Binding. This is going to hurt.
Good trade there. You can see the damage coming out from MrRalleZ. A quick flay, though, on KaSing. Will trade it back. Death Sentence did not land. Nevertheless, Roccat, they have the advantage.
And I feel like Selfie panic flashed. When he gave up first blood, he was not dodging skill shots once he did the satchel and the flash. If he had saved that for a little later, may have gotten away, but he was very overextended. And if you go back to the pre-match video, Roccat made it very, very clear. We want to shut down Selfie. Impaler himself said if Selfie loses lane, he goes on tilt. Let's see if Selfie does go on tilt because he's given up first blood. And Jankos, well, I wonder if that vote's going to change. We'll have to keep our eyes on it.
Well, advantage absolutely is in Jankos' favor. Impaler fans still out there, though. The British are voting against the Poles, I think, in this one. We'll see if it works out for them. Mimer in that top lane just teleports back in there, gets himself a shield to go with that sword that he's got now. Double Doran's ring for Xaxus, meanwhile, in the top. We'll see if he goes with the triple that Soaz often runs on the Lulu in that top lane.
I also want to see how Impaler's going to itemize, because Rengar is one of those jungle champions that there is not a de facto standard build. You can go for Feral Flare, you can go Blade of the Ruined King, Ghost Blade. We can even see it being built tank, like we've seen yesterday as well. You know, Locket of the Iron Star going full CDR build with Ionian Boots of Lucidity. So I want to see how Impaler wants to play it, because there is damage, a lot of damage from mid, his 80 carry, and if Mimer goes Blade of the Ruined King, I wouldn't be too surprised to see him maybe go a little more tanky and be one of those frontline menaces along with Mimer. Because SUPA crew have just got such a strong team fight composition if they can get grouped and they're not as far behind like they were yesterday against Fnatic.
Well, we see Roccat have Jankos down in this lower half of the jungle. Let's see if he wants to make a play. No, looks like he's going to go back and buy. He hasn't bought, so Sightstone may well be coming out there. Impaler taking his sneaky run in towards the bush here. Going to be unseen, there's no wards. That's a Death Sentence used, so the timing's going to be down on that for a short period of time here. Can sneak up into this next brush. Celaver, we'll see whether he tries to lead off with a ward. You can see he's got it available from his trinket.
So exhaust up for VandeR, flash and heal up for Celaver. Impaler's using a lot of time, and if this backfires, he's going to be a little behind. The thing is, he's got a small CS advantage over Jankos despite being a level down, and he's jumped onto Celaver.
Straight away in there, no problem.
Easy peasy.
Secure play from VandeR. You can see him tweaking in and out of the bush there and just straight up wards out that bush.
So this is what we talked about in picks and bans. Oh, that's a lot of damage on Mimer. Xaxus being a good lane bully. But during picks and bans, we talked about how if VandeR is aware of potential threats, he can just position himself to get Celaver out. Despite the root coming down, it wasn't long enough to hold Celaver in place, and obviously no Dark Binding meant he could just ride the lantern to safety. Impaler also was not level 6, so he didn't manage to get 2 baller strikes off during a skirmish. And that could be game-changing once he's able to actually get those down.
Well, Xaxus in that top lane has built himself up a bit of an advantage. He's ahead already. There's Mimer only just hitting 6, but Xaxus is not far off level 7 already here, because he's just managed to shove this wave right in. Xaxus is now heading up towards the top half of the jungle. We'll see whether he fancies paying a visit, or if he can get a cheeky steal on this red buff.
So while Xaxus is doing fairly well at keeping Mimer pushed back to his tower, I actually think Mimer's doing a good job of farming. That's a difficult lane matchup because of the lane and because of the annoyance that Lulu has in that setup. Roccat have grouped up, they've got a lot of support for this red buff steal.
Impaler not on the timers.
No, definitely not, but if he can counter and steal Rockat's red with some support from MrRalleZ and KaSing, they can at least even out the trade. It looks like that's the decision. But I like the fact that Roccat responded. They pulled their top lane and mid lane into the jungle of Super Hot Crew.
Jankos is already heading down here. He's going to come around. Remember, he went for the red buff second, so it's not available yet. It won't be spawning for a while yet. The blue buff is up, of course. Impaler completely caught out here. He's going to try and sneak in. He will buy time because Overpow wants that blue buff, and this will be a steal for Impaler.
So technically, Impaler still does have the support because MrRalleZ and KaSing are shoving the wave to the tower. So if they respond quickly enough, they can join the fight. But did you see Jankos in the mid lane? He just came in behind Selfie, and the threat of a cocoon was enough to force Selfie to use his summoner heal, get that movement speed increase and back away. So Jankos and Roccat sticking to their pre-game video, definitely applying pressure on the mid lane. It hasn't hurt Selfie in terms of CS yet.
Quick early warning system. Oh, Impaler caught out of jungle here. Spotted by the ward. Has to pop his stealth to try and get out of there. So ultimate used to simply aid in his escape. With that red buff down, it did give fair warning to the bottom lane. Jankos quickly pinging around there, but Impaler is safe back into his own jungle.
That's actually really important. That's a 110-second cooldown. So Impaler being forced to use that defensively to stay alive means that Roccat have now got this sort of 2-minute window of safety, waiting for Impaler to get his ultimate available again and try to set up more ganks. But we're very, very even. All of the lanes are within touching distance as far as CS is concerned. And I actually think that bodes well for the Super Hot Crew, because if they don't give up multiple objectives, once we start setting up for team fights, as long as Impaler and Mimer can be very disruptive and split up the focus of the Chrono Shift and the Wild Growth, that's how Super Hot Crew will win team fights. If Super Hot Crew just bundle and take a lot of AoE damage from Roccat, they could be in trouble.
Tower diving here, spotted out by the ward, but it doesn't matter. It won't be able to save him. You can see Jankos is going to come around. He can, of course, pull aggro, then repel. Mega Inferno Bomb comes up. That will land. It catches out towards Jankos. There's Jankos taking the damage, repels away. Safe gang.
Very, very easy. Mimer was just trying to wave clear and increase the amount of tower damage that Roccat were going to take, but Xaxus and Jankos coordinate perfectly, and Jankos has really stepped up. The last 2 or 3 weeks, that's not even fair because he's got 12 first bloods over the split, but his laning phase mechanics is super, super strong. And Roccat with the first objective, they give themselves 1,500 gold. Super Hot Crew need to prevent giving up more objectives, because that's how they fell so far behind Fnatic yesterday. Multiple towers and dragons back to back, and then they were just too far behind in global gold to be relevant.
Celaver now up to level 7 down this bottom lane, still just keeping ahead of MrRalleZ, who will hit that level in just a moment. They have yet to go back and buy either of them, both just sitting on double Doran's blades, which means the dragon most likely not going to be started off shortly. Instead, we do see Roccat. They are in position. They want the dragon here. I'm not sure if Super Hot Crew can react quick enough. The ward goes down, it spots it, they know that it's coming. That's going to give Mimer a chance to teleport down here, but Ping Ward will clear that out.
Yeah, so Roccat, I think, should be able to shred this down before the fight can occur. Impaler may look for a steal. And Super Hot Crew, they're grouping up. Look at this. This is going to be the hook on Impaler.
Oh, the hook caught on towards him. He flashes away, but he's not getting away from this one, surely. The Ignite run in, the bomb lands. Overpow gets the kill.
That was fantastic. The death sentence from VandeR, managing to catch Impaler out. At the beginning of this game, our featured matchup was Jankos versus Impaler. Jankos has got a dragon, been involved in 3 kills. Impaler has died and used his ultimate defensively twice now.
The thing is, the crazy thing is, Impaler just used his ultimate to try and stealth running. There was a pink ward clearly there. It's like, you're not going to be stealth, buddy. You're walking straight into a 5-man team that can see you. That's not going to work out, and it is another death. So, big advantage right now for Jankos and crew in the jungle.
It feels like panic stations. Selfie has been ganked twice in the mid lane, blown summoner spells. In that scenario in the river, as you pointed out, Impaler watched Roccat clearing out his wards and still tried to stealth in on the hunt. Got revealed, and VandeR landed a good death sentence. So Roccat now extend their gold lead further. Overpow has got a tier of the goddess, he's got home guard boots, and a needlessly large rod. So he's going for a big damage spike in the mid game. We see Morellinomicon picked up for Xaxus, similarly done by Soaz yesterday. But Roccat need to punish and take advantage of the mid-game power that they have.
Look at VandeR there, hasn't got the ward anymore on the trinket, instead throws the lantern into the bush to just double check there is no Rengar waiting in the bushes. Also, change for Overpow this time around. Of course, he played Zilean against Alliance yesterday. This time he is rushing towards that Rabadon Zcash. Yesterday he had to play far more passives because Froggen punished him in the lane. Yeah,
he had a difficult time in the lane. Froggen played a lot more aggressively, and even in this matchup, Overpow's still behind in CS. When you consider Selfie's been ganked twice, you actually have to give some credit to Selfie for doing fairly well at staying relevant. And there's a big problem for Roccat in that they need to deal with the wave clear that Selfie's Ziggs is going to put down. They couldn't break through inhibitor turrets yesterday against Alliance. They managed to get one, but lost the ensuing team fights and then couldn't put pressure on the inhibitor itself. One other thing to note, MrRalleZ and Celaver have still yet to back. For a long time. So double Dorans and Pots, and they're both sitting on a lot of money. 3,200 gold for Celaver, 2,700 for MrRalleZ. So Celaver might be looking for his Trinity Force outright.
Ultimate wasted again from Impaler there. Wanted to get into Xaxus this time around. That was failed, and this is not working out well for, allegedly, well, some high praise for the best Rengar in Europe. But as we mentioned, not quite so high praise. We haven't seen too many fantastic Rengars just yet. No, 0 for 3 as far as his ultimates are concerned. Impaler's had no impact this game. He's not applied pressure on lanes. He's not counter jungled. There's been no threat to Roccat. And he won the public opinion poll, 51% of the vote. You know, hashtag SHC Impaler. So for Super Hot Crew, they are down a small amount of gold. One team fight can change that. In order to find the team fight, they need to set it up or they need to react quickly enough. If you go back to that Dragon fight, Super Hot Crew were too late, Dragon was gone, and by the time Dragon was taken, it wasn't worth engaging. That was a little close. So Dragon was lost instantly to Roccat, and look at this now, Roccat are pushing the middle lane and applying pressure on this blue buff. Yeah, they're coming in numbers. Overpow just off at the side, he's happy to shove it in. Jankos thought about trying to come in for a smite. Again, gets caught with the Dark Binding this time around. The AD carry, MrRalleZ, joining them. This is buying time for the mid turret to take a lot of pressure. There's a big wave on there. Mega Infinity Bomb may be required. It's not available, though. It's already gone down. That's going to be the tower. Tower for blue buff. Roccat will be happy with that trade. And Xaxus and Overpow, they're going to get some pretty good damage. That's another summoner heal from Selfie. He's panic using those summoner spells. There wasn't a lot of kill threat from Xaxus or Overpow in that scenario. But nevertheless, played it safe, and now Roccat, 2 towers down and a dragon. Mimer and Xaxus going to go toe-to-toe. Well, Mimer's, I think he was trying to counter. He knew the blue buff was stolen. He was like, well, quick, I need to get in there and try and do something. But look at Xaxus. He's punishing him. He's only got that, he's not got a great deal of damage, but Xaxus himself has got that Morgana, so he can just burn through the hit points that Mimer's currently got. More focus on the red buff here for Roccat as well. So, last time they did this, they had 3 men helping out. Xaxus and Overpow invaded. This time around, they've got the aid of VandeR. So this is going to turn into a 4v4, and Impaler started the fight, but once again, VandeR playing very, very well. His positional play with the Thresh is superb, and I believe that red buff was actually secured by Jankos. Yep, so he's got the little icon around him. Managed to get that away with the smite. So, Jankos playing a fantastic game so far, head in CS and head of kills, head in everything, honestly, and Roccat started out well once again in the lane phase. They did the exact same thing against the Lion, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. They had a 14,000 gold lead in that matchup. They ended at 12,000 gold ahead and still lost the game. Yeah, and it was because they didn't know how to push past the inner turrets. They snuck 2 turrets away from Alliance by some smart map play, but then they couldn't break the inhibitor line. So Celaver's come back to lane with the Trinity Force. He's going to be doing battle with a BF Sword pickaxe. So the power spike is still in favor of Celaver, as long as he can keep at range and doesn't get caught by those dark bindings. Mimer fancies a chance, but he doesn't have any support from anyone. And it's just Roccat winning their top and bottom lane fairly comfortably. And mid is just going even for the time being. Bottom tower is taking punishment. Xaxus hooked in. Chooses not to follow, though, this time around. Wave was pushed in as well. Xaxus is winning out that battle in the top lane. Mimer's been forced to back away from the tower. Xaxus pretty low on mana, but he's going to get some free damage on the turret. Meanwhile, the rest of Roccat continue to push this mid lane. Yeah, I still think Mimer's farming very well, but until Super Hot Crew make a play and actually make a fight happen, that strength and that power is just going to continue to dwindle. Roccat with this tower are going to have a 5,000 gold lead, just shy of it. And there's nothing that Super Hot Crew are doing. They're not being proactive. Impaler's been bullied. Impaler's been shut down by the focus and being out of position and some bad calls.
And Selfie's had, again, also no impact. So, uncontested Dragon, this is a near mirror of the loss that Super Hot Crew suffered yesterday.
Xaxus just sitting in base. Is like, do you need me to teleport? No. This is completely free. Not even going to get close to this one. So, another Dragon, as you say. A lot of damage on towards Impaler as well. Again, forced out of it. He's having a torrid time right now on that Rengar. Not being able to get anything. Overpow's getting himself some free farm now. VandeR is getting himself some free souls in the process. So, Roccat pushing up. Look at this. Mimer's shoved the wave out. Doesn't want to get too close to this one because Xaxus has been bullying him throughout this top lane phase.
Yeah, there's nothing that Mimer can really do. He's building tank for the time being. Got that Spectre's Cowl, got the Bilgewater Cutlass in his itemization, but again, Impaler's just not been there to help. Impaler hasn't positively impacted any of Super Hot Crew's lanes. And while Super Hot Crew are struggling, Roccat now have the hardest task. They've got all outer towers down. They've invaded and controlled Super Hot Crew's red buff very effectively, but they need to get deeper vision and then push those inhibitor turrets. I actually think they've got a fairly strong siege comp, or siege power, with the disengage from Thresh and from Lulu, as well as the bombs from Ziggs, from Zilean. But the problem is, of course, they have to deal with wave clear from Selfie. So for Roccat, deep vision, split Super Hot Crew up, pick an inner turret and commit to it. That has to be the game plan, 1, 2, and 3.
And they have to make sure they don't play so passive that they let it slide away from them. Overpow there, getting himself the blue buff. You just saw him putting some serious punishment back onto Selfie. Mimer being punished in the top lane. This time again, once again, Super Hot Crew trying to set up for a gank. Can they get their first kill of the game? This time around, they may well be able to make it. Dark Binding does not land though. Xaxus puts himself wild growth. He speeds away from this one. Shield is available. Flash comes out. Scot-free, no problem. The 3 members dive onto Xaxus and he just walks down the lane. Ends
up trading flash for flash with Impaler, and Xaxus isn't done, but look at the investment. Roccat managed to split Super Hot Crew up. MrRalleZ just gets melted down, and Roccat grabbed themselves a tower. Selfie's forced back as well. This is great smart play from Roccat. Xaxus is going to die though.
This time, finally, Xaxus does give himself the trade. He keeps them busy in the top lane, while the rest of his team just take another inner turret. They could rotate now in towards the mid lane. Super Hot Crew not really acting. They're going to get the blue buff and push in towards the tower.
Look at all of the wards on the minimap for Roccat. They had deep vision. Once Super Hot Crew committed to an overextended Xaxus, Roccat were able to grab the tower. They've stolen the blue buff. They are going to trade 1 for 1, but if Roccat continue to siege, they might actually get a second tower out of this trade once we look in the mid lane. Super Hot Crew grab their first objective, but Roccat are backing away. I feel like if they go aggressive, they can drop this. This tower's at 50% HP already.
Well, they've already cleared out the wards as well, starting to ward out the top half of the jungle. They've already taken the bottom. They don't need to worry about that. It's the top they're focusing on now, and Super Hot Crew decision-making is going a little astray here. Jankos not going to get Dark Binding. Instead, KaSing will eat a bomb. He's going to Black Shield, so he should be able to cover off some of it, or just ignore it. Just didn't really care about it either way. So, Roccat, full control now, honestly. Mimer and co really have to pull out something. Go defensive like Alliance did yesterday, but honestly, I don't think they've got the late game team comp or the pressure that Alliance showed yesterday.
So, it's actually very similar in that Alliance yesterday had an aggressive jungler and a wave clearing sort of long range mid. And you've got a similar situation now with Rengar in the jungle and with Ziggs in the mid lane. So for Super Hot Crew, I think, yes, they can go defensive and try to scale themselves up. But on the same token, it's playing passive, it's playing passive that's costing them all of this control. They've not had a successful gank. They've not had a successful team fight. And now they need to try and catch Roccat out when they're pushing these towers. So I think a flanking maneuver when Roccat commit to a tower, that's got to be their plan.
2 people walk past that ping ward. Now VandeR's just like, did you not see that? You just walked straight past the damn thing. This time he will take it down. So, Roccat clear themselves the ward and look at it. Look at the vision they have now in that upper half of the jungle. They don't care about the bottom. The top is where they're focusing. The top inner and the middle inner.
So Xaxus is going to split push this bottom lane. Once Super Hot Crew commit resources to shutting Xaxus down, Roccat will either go for Baron or they will go for the middle or top inner turrets. With all the vision they've secured, Impaler, death sentence. Ew, that was very bad. We'll pretend it didn't happen. Okay, we'll pretend it didn't happen. Theory was okay.
A little bit off on that one. You knew what he wanted.
Lee is not impressed.
No. It wasn't a good death sentence. Nevertheless, Xaxus will continue to clear out that bottom wave. Mimer's trying to do the same as well. He's trying to cause himself a nuisance. He's in dangerous territory though, being that far ahead in the top lane when there's 4 members of Roccat so close by, and they already thought about having a peek up there. Overpow will just simply put 2 bombs down, clear that wave. Let's see if he can do it again.
So fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Let's see. Death sentence. Oh,
Black Shield's
scary.
Black Shield's gone.
This is
KaSing's
scary.
scared.
Oh, he got it!
Oh, the Sunken Goon got in. Death sentence there. That's it. He goes down. Now, the Baron has been started.
The rest of Super Hockey are not going to respond. There is the threat of a Mega Inferno Bomb here from Selfie, so let's keep our eyes on that. Teleport from Xaxus is coming in. Teleport from Mimer would be late. There's no vision for Super Hockey.
He's a long way out as well.
They've got to be very, very careful. Take a look at Mimer from the back line. Look for Mega Inferno Bomb.
They've got to go all in. There's the Mega Inferno gone. Mimer not going to get there in time. Impaler wasn't able to smite it. Overpow uses his chrono shift on himself. He will be safe. And that is another 2 kills picked up by Roccat and the Baron. The Super crew are simply on the retreat. Very
smart play. Roccat, they set up the vision. They spent 1.5 minutes chilling in that pit. You know, could have made some smalls, pitched a tent. Oh, flash hook does not connect, but Celaver's on the Selfie.
Celaver will put the damage down. Death sentence not going to come out from VandeR, still on the cooldown. He'll just shield himself out here. They're going to go straight down to Dragon. They're going to continue the pressure, actually, that middle turret as well. There is Ziggs there. Has got wave clearance, but at the moment he's focusing on players rather than the tower. Celaver in trouble. He may well get taken down here. Has he got the slow available? The death sentence comes out from VandeR. Is it going to be enough though? Celaver's so low. Chrono shift now on him. He will go down in the pool. He'll come back to life. And now Jankos comes back up. And that ultimate, it must have just come back off cooldown.
Very, very safe. Smart play from Overpow, rather. He was low on mana as well, so that was going to be risky. Thanks to the rewind on Zilean's W, you can get that chrono shift off very, very quickly. And between the Baron engage and, of course, the mid lane fight there, Overpow was able to bring Celaver back to life. But that is exactly what Rocket's team comp is about. You have Lulu and Zilean to peel and protect and revive Kog'Maw. And as long as Kog'Maw's standing there, he's about to finish off his Blade of the Ruined King. 1,600 gold in Celaver's back pocket, so not far off it. And Roccat have got themselves a 10,000 gold lead. They've got absolute map control, but they still need to break the final hurdle, and they didn't do it yesterday against the Lions. Let's see if they've learned from their mistakes and they can do it against the Super crew.
Super crew still lying in 3rd place, but this is definitely not good news for them. As I mentioned, this could be almost certainly at the moment, unless Super crew continue their losing streak right now, their quarterfinal opponent, and they are not doing well. If you look at SK Gaming yesterday, well, they are doing very well. Millennium faded away, but Super crew, they're not looking that strong in this Super Week. They seem to have come a little ill-prepared, it seems. And this is really a big test. It really is. Every time you come into this almost tournament-style 4 games in 3 days, it's the pressure's on you. And this is what you'd be facing if you were to get to Worlds. You know, that group stage of Worlds. You're going to have a lot of games in a short period of time. And right now, Super crew, I'm not sure, are capable of it.
I agree with you. And they've just not... They've not played to win. This is a statement that we say fairly often. Super crew have been so defensive, they're playing to not lose, as opposed to being proactive and playing to win. Impaler's not had an impact in this match. His ganks have been non-existent. Jankos has moved around a lot. Now, Roccat, they've got the Baron buff, they're sieging the mid lane. And look at this long-range poke. This is what we talked about in terms of the siege power. Living Artillery, Voidoo's, Glitterlance, all smashing around. And when Overpow puts those bombs, oh, that's a good flash from Selfie.
Yeah, he needed that one. I just wonder if this is simply Super crew putting pressure on themselves, because they got themselves into that good 3rd place position last week. And since then, you know, after looking great, they've really not shown anything. It's only been a couple of days in between. The rest of the team seem to have all stepped it up. When the pressure is on, KaSing's in trouble. Death sentence now lands on Mimer. He's going to get caught out. Has he got the hit points to get away from this one? Repel not going to quite get close enough. So we do see Overpow coming in. He catches the bomb on Selfie. Didn't get close enough for Mimer, but that's an inhibitor turret going down. And Roccat, they've got the free roam of Super crew's base.
Going to secure their first inhibitor. They've got Minion Wave pushing the top lane, so they can even go to the top inner turret as well. And this was exactly what they did not do yesterday. Committed, aggressive, and finding the picks. VandeR has been very impactful on this Thresh. It's worked out. He's had a few good death sentences. He saved Celaver once or twice with those lanterns. Will disregard the slightly wide shot on Impaler because he is 0-0-4 and is definitely helping Roccat set up the picks they need under the objectives. And Super crew have now got little to no presence Overpow's hunting.
Yeah, Overpow's hunting. It's Selfie that he's found. He's going to get one bomb down on him. Will he get the rewind? That's going to be slowed down by that minefield. Will get the speed up back on himself. Will step away. Inner turret goes down. In the top lane, Roccat continue this pressure. That Baron has worked wonders for them, opening up SUPA base.
It has, and that was actually very important for Overpow to keep Selfie away. Selfie's wave clear and AoE damage is very important in defending the towers. MrRalleZ does a pretty good job as well, thanks to the explosive shots. But it's all about Roccat. They're playing the waves very effectively, and they've just got to finish the game out now and get past that final hurdle.
Should only be a matter of time right now. Roccat, of course, 7-1 up, 28 minutes into this game. Could be a sub 30-minute game. We'll see how it works out for them. Roccat are in control. This would be their second game. They had a rough one yesterday, but as we mentioned, you know, they've looked better the last few weeks.
Yeah, they have. But again, they're up and down. I do think the SUPA crew have a high ceiling. This is something we talked about in the office. The skill ceiling of the SUPA crew is very close to the level of Fnatic and Alliance when they were playing well. But their skill floor, as in the baseline SUPA crew that you get, is much lower. They don't deliver consistently. And we see this time and time again from the SUPA crew. Some games they'll smash, and the last 2 games, they've been smashed. But it is, of course, a difficult schedule. You know, they've just come out of week 10 last week. Week 11 is a super week, which is just 3 days away. And they've got to prepare for those 4 games with the threat of Gamescom, with the threat of playoffs and potentially Worlds. SUPA crew is a very young team. None of these guys have a lot of big stage, big tournament experience, and maybe that is weighing them down mentally.
Well, the big problem is, you know, Mimer's getting high praise last week. Mega Inferno Bomb that's going to miss the wave, or it caught some of the wave. It didn't wipe out most of it. We Overpow though, look at that. Super minions in the mid lane. They're going to be shoving into the base of SUPA crew in just a few moments. He comes around the side, gets a couple of cheeky bombs on Selfie. That's going to take him very low with that ignite. Another bomb goes on. He goes down. Overpow sets himself up, and Roccat move in for the inhibitor turret. They're
going to grab the second inhibitor turret. The chrono shift was used from Overpow, but look how quickly that rewind is ticking it down. A quarter of the cooldown is already been burned through. Roccat going to secure the second inhibitor of the game without wave clear from Selfie. They may even look to finish. Middle inhibitor should be respawning in the not too distant future, so let's see how Roccat play out these next few minutes. They've got super minions, they've got the damage. I think they're going for it, D-Man.
They've got a wave here, they're going to get straight on. One Nexus turret goes down, super minions on the second one. That's going to get worked down. Roccat pushing on this one. The SUPA crew are just floundering once again. It has not worked out for them in this match, and 30 minutes gone. Roccat will take victory. A very important one when the playoffs loom over the SUPA crew.
So with that win, Roccat still have the potential to go 14-14. They're 12-14 now. SUPA crew are 14-12. And if you look at the other teams who are in this race, SK and Millennium are 13 wins, 12 losses each. Those tiebreakers did not look massively possible at the beginning of the split of the week, but as these games are playing out, these middle 4 teams are getting closer and closer and closer.
It was a low scoring kill game, but honestly, that's all Roccat needed. Only 8-1. We just saw similar, ironically, over in the OGN as well. 7-1, complete 21-minute destruction. Roccat, full control this time around.
Roccat got more towers than they got kills. They secured 10 towers that game, only 8 kills. They had full dragon control. They took an uncontested Baron. That was a very strategic, very smart Roccat. They didn't necessarily push waves as much as they used vision and jungle pressure to win the game. They had a lot of deep wards, and then once they forced SUPA crew's hand to clear those wards out, they just pounced on them. Took a little bit of time, but Roccat played it patiently and they made it count.
That man was just on your screen. Jankos involved in 100% of everything Roccat did there. 2-0-6. You know, we talked about who will come out on top. Absolutely was Jankos, no doubt about that. Fantastic performance by him. And Roccat, who knows? You know, they were coming into this, and this is the irony, right? We just spoke to Roccat before the Super Week became, and they were just like, yeah, we know 6th place is pretty much secured, pressure's off us, we're just going to have fun this week. Suddenly, they're playing really well.
I agree. And they, you know, they pushed Alliance to the absolute limit yesterday. If it wasn't for a positional error in the late game, they probably would have won that game. Maybe needed a little bit more aggression like from this matchup. But Roccat looking good. I expected Roccat and SK to struggle more this week based on the last few weeks' performances. They've stepped up in Super Week.
And the Millennium and Super Crew have stepped down.
And they have been struggling. We will be seeing those teams later today. And they really